F major added second chord time, guys. It's me. It's Miles. It's time. F major added second chord. I got the synthesizer back. I'm very tired. I'm tired. I've been busy all week. I'm going to be busy all this next week, and I have time. I just barely have time to squeeze this out right now, and I'll do it up and make it look nice later. Potatoes. Look, we're doing a review of the new Panda Rosa record, Neochina, and I know what you're thinking. I thought you said the last Panda Rosa record was the last Panda, like the previous one was the final one. No, well, yes, it was, and then he released another one. He changed his mind less than a week after I released that review, and I was like, well, I guess I have to listen to this new one several times, and then review it. Because I wasn't really happy with the way that the Panda Rosa episode came out. I talked about the record a little, but then I spent, several minutes just talking in a circle about whether or not the fact that it sounded good made it okay to like. This is a ridiculous statement. A record can sound good and be good, okay? Can a record sound good and be bad? Yes. I'd like to point your attention to the third Cold War Kids record, which is very nice, very shiny, and soulless. That record is soulless. Is Orca, the Panda Rosa record, Orca soulless? No. Is it pleasant to listen to? Yes, but it also feels real and has good, memorable melodies. And the fact that it sounds fantastic is a bonus, and the fact that it has these moments of bloom, these strong and compelling rhythms, like in songs like Nana Emo and YMML, the fact that they can support these melodic and harmonic and sonic blooms. I love blooms. Blooms are fantastic. And the ambient songs are nice, interludes between these blooms. They also sound nice. They're pretty, they're lower key, but they share certain strengths with the songs while stepping away from the propulsive, the compelling rhythmic parts. Am I rewriting my opinion of Orca on the fly for the sake of the public record? Yes, I am updating it because that's something people do. People have their opinions change. Their stances evolve on the issues, okay? And Orca, I realized I reviewed it too early. Like 2 weeks after I was done with the review. I was like, okay, having still listened to this record, having spent all this time trying to get into it, I think I finally cracked it, and it is the great dream pop record that I initially thought it was, and then talked myself into thinking it wasn't, just because it was pretty. Okay? Orca, what did I give it? A B-? I'm revising it upwards to a B+, which is what I gave Changer. Okay, are we good? I'm glad we're good. Because Neochina is not as good. Okay, and I know you're thinking, oh, he's going to release, Panda Rosa is going to release another record and he's going to rewrite. No, because whereas I knew immediately that I was going to like Orca, I knew almost in the same way that Neochina wasn't going to grab me the same way. I knew it had to be a serious grower. Because where Orca has this brightness to it and this energy, Neochina is gloomier. The bright colors of the cover of Orca, all those pastel oranges, give way entirely to this sort of this muted blue, and that is an apt visual metaphor. It is sort of this, the Orca covers these swirls of color, and the Neochina is this blued out cityscape. Neochina. Okay. Neochina is a darker record. It doesn't pop quite the same way Orca does. I used the word bloom like 5 times in 60 seconds a while ago. Does Neochina have blooms? Not as much. Like, there are moments when the songs burst from these dark, sort of meditative modes into a more energetic phase, but they're not as bright, except for Look. Look is the only song, I'm not going to say the only song that would have fit on Orca, but it is a song that closely most closely reminds me of what I think Orca sounds like. Does that make sense? Look is the Panda Rosa song that fits my basic Panda Rosa smell test as far as Neochina goes. It's got, these chiming guitars, and the vocals are a little higher in the mix than they are in the rest of the record, and it's upbeat. And the rest sort of tend towards this dark synth wavy synth pop thing. There's the word for this genre, I don't know what it is. It seems almost vaporwave like I don't know, Molgoth or something. But at the same time, it's a bit more focused and a bit less sample-delic or whatever than that genre is, I think. Okay, let me try and break down the first two tracks. So the first song is It Safe to Lie Down? I hope this helps me get to where I'm going with this. And the majority of Is It Safe to Lie Down has this grinding bass line, this very steady rhythm. Boom, 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 boom. A little more complicated than that, but And of course, Ben Fitch's vocals sort of, reverbed over it, and these synthesizer switches that go, in and out around it. It's immediately darker, and in a way, I don't want to say more compelling, more confrontational than the beginning of Orca. Then we get to Mouth, which has this, again, this boom, 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 something like that. And again, these swirls of darker synthesizer. And, these little piano flourishes. And towards the end, there's this moment, this sort of burst that with this horn section comes, I don't want to say like a horn section, this horn motif comes in, and it sort of picks up, but it's not, Neochina isn't as exuberant as Orca is. Even when you have these moments like Mouth with this, this brash, powerful horn moment, it feels muted. The record feels muted. It feels more programmed than the sort of organic sound shapes of Orca. And while I talked a big game with this nonsense sound memory business on the Orca review, I will say that having listened to Neochina as long now as Panda Rosa's Orca then, nothing stands out to me as much. Even Look, which again sounds like a song of Orca, makes me, think more about Orca than it does about Look, okay? I don't want to listen to Neochina as much as I want to listen to Orca. And I wanted to like Neochina more than I want to like Orca because I want to like rehabilitate my opinion of Panda Rosa on the public record, but I don't have to like Neochina to do that. If anything, Neochina makes me like Orca more because I'm not as interested in it, and it's, it's sort of murk. I don't know. Again, it sounds good, okay? It sounds good. But the sound doesn't interest me. And that's the distinction. That's a distinction that's important. Sounding good and sounding interesting are two different things. And neither of them can make up for just the less compelling creative and songwriting decisions that really sink an album. That's really what it comes down to, because lousy albums can sound great and great albums can sound lousy, and Neochina is sort of in the middle. It sounds pretty good and it's not that interesting to me. Someone else who's more into like this whole synthwave thing might like it more than I do. But as someone who came to Panda Rosa Records for that brightness and those blooms of energy, these more matte textures don't do it for me. I like the gloss of Orca. So this gets the B-C+. But again, Orca gets bumped up to a solid B+. I like it more as time goes on, but Neochina is already fading from my playlist. Anyway, this has been a very rapidly recorded episode of F Major Out of Second Chord because I am tired and I have things to do, and I will put it up tonight, and yeah, good times.